shit, and like she's crying in the rain and cutting off all of her hair.
That's just par for the course.
But no, I'm just saying, if they do go that route, I think that's a legitimate way you could do it and not make the Bray look weak, but still be able to get the title off of him.
No, I hear you. I hear you.
And you know, whereas Paul had the urn, she is Paul and the urn, essentially, which is an interesting dynamic. I don't know. I like it, and if you're going to do it that way, please. It's probably too smart for WWE writers, though.
You know what? It is too smart. But next we had the Men's Survivor Series match.
Yes, I managed to wake up for this one, where Team SmackDown with Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, King Corbin, Mustafa Ali, and Shorty G defeated Team Raw, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, Ricochet, and Team NXT, Tommaso Ciampa, Damian Priest, Matt Riddle, Keith Lee, and Walter. Walter got put out like a bitch in the first 15 seconds of this thing.
That kills, I'm not going to say that kills his character, but that is not good for his character.
Right. It's not.
Out of all of the guys on here, he has the biggest, monster.
Out of all the NXT guys, the only person who looked like they were worth shit was Keith Lee, and most of the time he was getting his ass kicked. It wasn't until the end when it was just Seth, Roman, and Keith, where Keith Lee actually got to show up and show off. But then, of course, it was down to Roman and Keith Lee, and everybody knew where that was going.
Yeah. Roman's not jobbing to Keith
fisting,
Lee.
Right. Let the fisting begin.
Begin.
The Seth Roman Keith Lee portion of this match is well worth the watch. It was good. Roman and Seth teamed up, and they did we're gonna powerbomb him through a table. They powerbombed him through a table, and they started fighting.
Oh.
Keith Lee came back. Keith eliminated Seth. Roman and Keith had a really good short. You know how that goes with Roman. It's kind of wham bam, thank you, ma'am.
Of course.
But it was good, and Roman Reigns, shook his hand and said, "You deserve it," and everybody was chanting the bask in his glory. And in the end, Keith Lee came out looking good, but this pay-per-view made NXT look like a steaming pile of shit, and we're not done there yet either.
No, I will give them this.
But first, a bathroom break brought to you by the WWE Championship and Brock Lesnar.
I don't even... Do we even need to talk about it?
This was a good match. I mean, it was...
Shut up.
When Dominic came in and they were low-blowing Lesnar and getting their desserts in, it was good. It switched back to Lesnar too fast, and the match was over too fast. I think you should have legitimately let Mysterio take it off of him, even if it's just for a minute.
Oh, I disagree. I think that's the worst thing you could do. I'm okay with somebody who you don't like a Seth Rollins or a Finn Balor, or somebody beating a Brock Lesnar. A Rey Mysterio does not need to. I mean, maybe a Dominic in a year. I could see it.
Yeah.
First of all, Rey Mysterio does not need nor deserve.
My question is, do you think we're going to see Dominic in a Rey Mysterio mask when he starts? Or has he, because he's already not wearing a mask, so does that go against the lucha? I don't understand how that works.
Vince doesn't like masks, so no, we won't. Should he do it?
Probably.
What there should be a mask. I don't know if it's mask versus hair, mask versus title, mask versus match against anybody, but where Rey Mysterio's mask is on the line, he loses, and Dominic starts wearing the mask to take over the mantle as Rey Mysterio. I don't know if you want to call it third, or if you want to call him son of Rey Mysterio Jr., or since WWE just calls him Rey Mysterio, maybe he'd start picking up the moniker of Rey Mysterio Jr. That's how I personally would book it as a wrestling fan. As a WWE employee, no, don't put the mask on him. He's handsome, he's tall. Don't do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What doesn't make sense is how they played out the next match, and it was a three-way non-title match. The women headlined the show, and it seemed like Becky Lynch and Bayley did everything in their power to make Shayna not look as good as she is.
That's sad, because they should be uplifting her, especially with them being two women who made their name as being NXT women who elevated the main roster women's division, they should be bringing up this NXT woman who is a legitimate badass.
Yeah. That's the problem is, though, she's more badass than either of them put together. And you know, Bayley it was not a good Bayley match, as most Bayley matches are. Becky was probably the best in the match. Shayna Baszler had some issues, but I mean, she also went to war the night before. Can't really blame her.
Right.
Gotta blame the people who booked the card.
Of course. Oh yeah, she's given her all 2 nights in a fucking row. Not even a full 24 hours rest.
Yep. And then the next day, word comes out that Vince is pissed about the main event of Survivor Series. So I'm willing to bet it's going to be quite some time before we see women main eventing another pay-per-view. And it sucks that they're going to sit here and put that on Shayna. You know what I mean? Even if they don't put it directly on her, it's got to be on her, right?
It's definitely, she's going to be the one that gets the full splashback. I hadn't heard that he was disappointed with it, but from what I have heard in general, he should just be disappointed with the pay-per-view.
Yeah, it was something that was supposed to be amazing, and it just turned out mediocre. And
plus,
it didn't even feel special because NXT wasn't NXT. They were.
Well, plus, if you're
WWECW.
just gonna take a step back and look at things in full perspective, if Shayna Baszler was part of the most amazing match of the weekend with War Games opening match, Women's War Games, and then she puts on even a decent showing at Survivor Series main event, how about we don't blame her and look at some other people?
Right.
Possibly the bookers, like you said.
There was some good continuity from War Games, though. The crowd at War Games actually booed Shayna Baszler for not putting tables into that match.
Oh,
in
that's
this match,
good.
she put Bayley through a ringside table, and the crowd chanted, "Thank you, Shayna."
That's awesome.
I
do like that.
It was a great way to tie up the whole weekend, because it was the beginning, they were pissed at her, and at the end, she redeemed herself in the eyes of Chicago, which you really want to do, right?
Yeah. Oh, of course.
I gotta say, too, for the ratings and the turnout for AEW's show last week, like, you're gonna be the 4th fucking wrestling show in a row in Chicago.
Yeah.
And you're gonna expect that turnout. They're all broke now. They were broke 2 days ago. Go home.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, we didn't mention it, but they had a very very scarce show there. There was not a lot of fans in it.
The crowd was loud. Also, week I had a huge complaint that the ring was overly mic'd. Like, you could hear people like tiptoeing around the ring very loud. Oh, really? Yeah. And that just, I have been noting their little production where they fuck up a little bit. And I
suppose that's something they just need to tweak over time, to get the right. Because there was what they called the Southern what did they call it? Southern bumping ring, which was one where it was heavily mic'd in the ring. There was a decent amount of spring, but it was tin-ish is what they would say. So when you fell on it, it was just like, bam! Yeah, and you super heard it. And then there was the more New York ring, which had less spring to it, but was plywood and was hard, and it didn't make as much of a sound, and it wasn't as heavily mic'd. And of course people preferred that one because it was actually easier on the body, but viewers preferred the Southern bumping ring because if you sat down, it sounded like you were dropped from Owen Hart death levels.
Yeah.
Too soon? I thought it was a good joke. But anyways, yeah. So I don't mind them playing with it. They just got to find the right spot. And I would be happy if it was different sounding than WWE. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, different sounding. I mean, but it was like, it seemed like it was mic'd over the level of the announcers, so it was hard to hear anything they were saying because all you were hearing was footsteps.
Not good.
Yeah, no, it was too much. But yeah, that was our mediocre Survivor Series show results. Best match,
yeah, that's sad. It wasn't because they were all amazing.
I think I got to give it to the men's Survivor Series match just because it had some good moments in it, and like the descent between King Corbin and Roman, and the team siding with who the team's going to side with, and there was a lot of good dissent amongst teams in that match, and like the only team that stood together was NXT. So
the most storyline, pretty much, of anyone.
Yeah, and I mean, you can't really have storyline in a brand warfare show.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
It helps to drink.
And then grade, I guess, C.
Okay. That sounds right from what I've heard. I can't participate in this, folks. I didn't watch it. I'm sorry. But I wasn't going to waste my time either. So
I guess that I don't think it was a waste of time. It would probably be a waste of time to go back and watch it now. But
right. You don't know what I was doing Sunday, though.
No. I if you watched War Games that weekend, I think you got the best of it. So
that's how I feel, also.
Yes.
Which is fine. Good stuff. We got it coming, folks. Just to let you know, coming up here at the beginning of the new year, we are going to have our Beefy Awards. This is our 5th annual Beefy Awards.
Yes, indeed.
I think. And just a heads up, just as with Thanksgiving, both Pasty and Fat Mac have families. We have obligations. We have stress levels and medication. And we may be taking a break during Christmas week. So don't go crazy if we don't pop something out on Christmas week, because we have lives. We're sorry.
Yes.
It happens, and we do it, but we have lives.
But that's why we gave you the Christmas present of Auto Erotic Wrestling this week.
Exactly. So just a heads up on all that. Plus, next week is going to be a jam-packed show with 3, Pasty, count them, 3, uno, dos, tres, year-end shows coming up that we are going to discuss. That would be WWE TLC, which does not have
any matches.
Nope. I take that back. At least one match was announced tonight, which was the Roman Corbin match that nobody wants to see.
Right.
So, yeah, let's announce the one nobody gives a fuck about. We also got NWA Into the Fire coming out, which is awesome. Another NWA pay-per-view. Their second one coming up here with their extension. And we have Ring of Honor's Final Battle, one of their biggest shows that they have each year, and is always a fun show to watch. With Ring of Honor,
you better tune in, folks, too, because it might be their final battle.
Yeah, with ROH slipping down to kind of the least on the totem pole, I'm excited to see what they pump out for Final Battle. The card looks good so far. We're not going to talk about it right now because we got a lot to talk about next week. But with that being said, folks, I got very autoerotic with y'all.
Yes, I made sure to bring plenty of automotive grease. It was a good one, and I'm looking forward to doing this segment again and again and again. Let's run it into the fucking ground.
It's fun. We got to do more of the autoerotic stuff, and then, like you said, we got to come up with some other themes also.
I think it would be really cool to take like a shitty WWE storyline and try to make a better one with this thing,
or like a worse one. Either one,
right? Well, we'd both have the same. We'd take the same storylines, and we'd try to correct them on our own, and then duel with who has the better or worst idea.
Ooh, I like that.
Yes.
I like you, Pasty. And I love all of you listening to us tonight.
Yes, it's been a good one. Thank you for joining us. And we'll be back again next week with another big, beefy, fat, stacked show. We out.